All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we actually got a special individual right here live on the line, man. We actually have New Orleans hip-hop gangster rap pioneer and the CEO of Mobo Records. We have the one and only Mobo Joe right here live on the line, man. How are you doing this evening?
Oh, man, on the real, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Glad to be a part of your show, man. I love what you're doing, man. And you got the legendary Mobo Joe on the real. Let's go, baby.
Hey, man, I gotta say, it's definitely an honor to have the one and only and the innovator of New Orleans gangster rap right here live on the Canadian radio station airways, man. It definitely is an absolute honor.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure, man. I've been around many years, around many corners there, tenfold.
And honestly, though, man, I know you're a busy guy, so I'm going to dive right into this interview, but I want to take you back to actually your very first release that you actually put out was with an individual by the name of Notorious A, also known as Ace Nitty. I was wondering, how did yourself and Notorious get connected? And of course, what was it like actually working with him at the very beginning of your legendary career?
Man, it was great. It was great because that's like family, man. We grew up together. We from the same neighborhood. His main hat is located in Harvey, Louisiana on the West Bank. And how we linked up, man, a friend of mine, I wanted to get into the music, and I was asking him, about the music, about doing some rap. And he told me, Ace Nitty rap. I didn't know he rapped at the time, So when I went and talked to him, he spit the Portrait of a Villain to me, man. And when he did that, it was like, man, let's put the money behind it and make it happen, right?
And I got to say as well, man, like, is he still doing his thing today, or did he happen to retire?
No, he got a little condition, like he got a condition going on. They say he got like a chemical imbalance going on to his brain right now. He's still, he ain't doing no music, but he's still, doing good. He's still in the neighborhood and everything, man. We just praying that he recover and shake back,
And I gotta say, most definitely prayers out to him, man. Because, like, I was reading on the internet that he might have passed away, so that's why I wanted to ask you. That way we can clear that up for the listeners to know that Nitty is definitely out there safe and sound.
Yeah, he didn't pass away. He's definitely alive and everything, man. And but anyone who ever heard the song Portrait of a Villain, man, Treat Yourself, man, it's a real good song. I mean, that boy was real dope. He was like the leader of the label for us writing with that pen. He was the pen man.
And also as well, man, as I said at the very beginning of the intro of the interview, you were actually one of the main pioneers of gangster rap in West Bank, New Orleans. I was wondering, how does it feel to know that you are one of the main reasons hip hop is so popular within your community?
Oh man, it feels great, man. I definitely was the first underground hip hop gangster rap label of New Orleans. I was the first one. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it feels great because a lot of people come up to me all the time, and they always give me respect for what I did, and they always thank me for what I did. Even when I was doing it, a lot of people that was in the streets, they always was like, man, we was glad to see you able to do it, because a lot of people followed in that trend and was able to go on and do bigger and better things there, Ken.
And the one thing I have to ask as well, man, because obviously, like, I've heard a lot of individuals, especially back in the day, that are pioneers like yourself. They always said they didn't really know what they were really doing and how big it was going to be while they were doing it. Like, did you know when you were doing it, like, damn, like, I'm the first guy doing this, or did you kind of find out throughout your career?
Now, I learned on the job. I didn't know. I didn't need much know. I learned on the job. Everything I learned about the music, I learned right on the job. I didn't go to school for it, I mean, I just learned, like when I first hooked up with Ace Nitty, we got with Ice Mike. Ice Mike did the Portrait of a Villain beat. Matter of fact, he did my first EP was Wanted by Five, Going Feared by Most, which was me and Notorious A. And Ice Mike did that. But like I said, we learned everything, on the job. Ice Mike, he was already doing some stuff, so he turned me on to a lot of things I didn't know. He taught me a lot with a lot of stuff like that too,
And also as well, in the year 1992, you actually started the legendary Mobo Records out of your West Bank Expressway record shop, man. I was wondering, what is the origin story behind that iconic record label? And of course, what initially made you decide to start up that company?
Well, like I said, I was in the world, in the streets and everything, and I had extra money, And, I wanted to do something positive at that time. NWA Easy was doing that thing, and I was like, man, that's something I wanted to do. But I started like in '91, and I started, like I said, working with Ice Mike. Then I put a studio at my house. Then I moved from there on to the hip hop record store where that I recorded on the West Bank Expressway there.
And I gotta ask as well, because obviously, like back in the day, like is it? Because I know you actually recently kind of revamped Mobo Records into Mobo Camp. I have to ask, like, is it a lot different running a record label in this day and age than versus back then? Like, how did you really put out those records? Like, what mom and pop shops actually had Mobo Records in their stores?
At that time, you had a lot of local distributors. You had one distributor called Gonzalez Music, was out of Gonzalez, Louisiana. They distributed throughout Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. Then you had Peaches Records. That was a big, big factor for the local labels and stuff. And then I got my store, so I was able to sell a lot of local stuff too. Because I also distribute other people's music through my record store. And then I had deals with Big State. I had Southwest. I dealt some stuff with, So like, I was doing stuff. I had a couple of moms and pops in Atlanta, out of Texas, like in Houston, Dallas area, and stuff like that. I worked with too.
And also as well, you actually appointed Kenneth Taylor as vice president of the label. I was wondering, what was it like actually having Taylor in your corner, and of course, what originally made you choose him as your right-hand man?
Well, I met Kenneth through Lil Badness from Ruthless Juvenile. Like him, Kenneth and his dad was cool, and Kenneth at that time he had just came back to New Orleans. He was in California, and he did some work with Capitol Records and stuff like that. So when he came back to New Orleans and when Lil Badness introduced me to him, me and him were talking and stuff, and I just think, he was a good piece to add to the puzzle, and I just went on and gave him a shot, and we worked, we did a lot of good business there.
Because obviously as well, like, this was back in the early 90s, so now with Mobo Camp, like, I have to ask, is Kenneth Taylor still working with you guys, or is that just something you guys actually did back in the 90s?
No, Kenneth Ben passed away. Kenneth passed away, man, I don't want to say exactly what year, but it was before Katrina. He passed away.
I want to say my sincere condolences, man, because I do know he definitely was a main key part to your legendary label.
Yeah, he did a lot of work for me, a lot of leg work. Because back then, it ain't like it is now. You can just go digital, put everything. We had to do a lot of hand-to-hand combat, and it was a lot of stuff that you had to do yourself, like. A lot of the graphics and stuff we did ourselves right through CKOR, man. Like we pasted we spent a lot of time at CKOR doing, artwork and stuff like that. It was just me and him basically doing all that stuff,
And also as well, in the year 1993, you actually did some phenomenal production work on MC Spud and DJ Def's Holla If You Hear Me single. I was wondering, how did you initially get connected with those two individuals? And of course, what was it like just being in the studio implementing your production sound on their records?
Well, Spud was from the Fisher Project, and I was, at that time, I was all through the streets of New Orleans, so I wound up meeting Spud, and he had the song Creeping at the time, and I liked it, what they was doing. And, I was just sharing my brand and just trying to help other people, get out in New Orleans. Because New Orleans we had a local scene of a lot of artists, man. We had a lot of music. At that time, we had a lot of music coming out. Just me being a person I was, I just was trying to, share my platform with different people that I thought would fit my program. And that was one of them right there.
And I gotta say as well, I personally really enjoyed that single, man. I really loved the production sound that you actually implemented on their music, man. You definitely are a natural at what you do.
Yeah, I do. I do try to do my own thing. I try to say, one thing I'm happy about, I'm content in staying in my own lane. I don't try to switch lane and do other stuff like that. What I do is what I do, and that's what I love to do.
And also, as well, aside from being, of course, a record label owner, a producer, you are also a hip hop artist as well, man, where you are also a member of the hip hop group Lower Level Organization. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about that iconic group, and of course, how did you actually get connected with the other members?
Well, the lower level organization was just really me and Notorious A. Like I said, that was my neighborhood friend, and we started the label. He was like, man, why don't you do a couple of raps with me? Because, like, at that time, I used to be just rapping and joking and stuff like that. So he was like, man, why don't you do a song with me? So I was like, all right. So, like, we just started off, like I said, we were just, like, more or less joking and playing. But then, I mean, we just did all the business, did all the paperwork and everything, and we just went from there, you know. Just, and no less, we was just doing it to have fun. I would have thought almost 30 years later, you know, the results I have. I didn't see it that way when I first started doing it.
And I got to say as well, like those records from Lower Level, man, are still phenomenal today, man. Like I know a lot of individuals still stream those and enjoy those most definitely today.
Yeah, I got a lot of people like overseas, man, like I said, in Canada, I got a lot of people in other places, they still be wanting that wax, man. Like, I don't know what's going on, but, like, all the time I got people DM me, like, man, they want to get their wax, you know. And like I said, that first project I did, you know, that was Ice Mike. And Ice Mike is a real good producer, but he did a lot of stuff, you know. On my first thing, he did that for me, and I mean, the people just love it, man. You know, a lot of people, you know, always tell me, like, Mobo Records was before their time. Like, the music we was doing then, it was for now. That's what they was telling me.
And also, as well, I have to ask, man, one of my personal favorite records that Mobo Camp actually released was actually in the year 1999, where you guys actually dropped the 17-track compilation record titled Mobo Mean Muggers. I was always wondering, man, what was the story behind that legendary project? And of course, is it actually available to be streamed or purchased today?
Yeah, it's on all major platforms, and on the Mobo Mean Muggers, we got a couple of original songs on there. But what we did on the Mobo Mean Mugs, we took some of the Ruthless Juvenile songs and some of the Doghouse Prophet songs, and we just added to the beats, and we switched the beats out. The lyrics are the same, but we just added, you know, to it. But everything on Mobo Records is available on all major platforms. You can go and download it on any major platform right now.
And I gotta say as well, man, when I was younger, I actually had a copy of that record, and I have to say, man, definitely was a phenomenal record, man. I really wish I wasn't young and dumb and actually misplaced all my old CDs, man, because that definitely was an absolute phenomenal record.
Yeah, a lot of people, you know, man, they took a lot of that stuff, man, from Mobile Records, man. They got a lot of collectors, man. A lot of collectors. I look at some of the prices they be selling that stuff for online. It's like it's be crazy, you know. But I mean, people send me stuff all the time. They sell the plastic on it. Like, they knew what they had when they bought it. I never had a clue it would be that valuable to today. But, I mean, a lot of my things, man, they still got the stuff, and they still got it in plastic.
I actually saw a few actually circulating on the internet there that were in plastic, and I think they were selling it for like $650 by $50 was the lowest one I saw, and I was like, God damn.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, man, some of them prices, you know, it's like, when I was away from, I wasn't really on a digital thing. It was maybe like 2016, 15. I was you know, I'll be doing the trucking thing, and I was talking to this broker, and like she was younger, but like every time I broke a load with her, she would be coming back and quoting some songs I put out. And I'm like, man, you wasn't old enough to remember these things. And she was telling me that she was getting them offline. So I was like, okay. So she was like, you never been on I think it was called NOLA.com. I was like, nah, I never been on there. So she sent me the link. And man, when I went on there, man, I was on there for hours, man, because they had so much information that people took on their own time and wrote about Mobo Joe and Mobo Records and Ruthless Juvenile, Lower Level. It's like people like you and the fans, like, they really, really give us all our flowers while we're alive, you know, and I really, really appreciate that, man.
And also as well, man, in 2004, you actually released your first solo debut album titled Federale. I was wondering, man, what actually made you decide to venture off into being a solo artist? And of course, do you have any hard copies available of that record? That way, if any listeners listening that don't have that for their collection, they can actually snag themselves a copy.
Yeah, I still have copies of that Federale. It's online where you can order it. If not, you can hit me on Mobo Camp 9 on Instagram. You can message me, and I can get you copies of it. But I got it. That Federale, that was after my incarceration. You know, I had did some fair time, and I had came home. But this time, a lot of the groups and everybody was going their own way. You know, so everybody was like, "Man, when you gonna give us some more music? Give us some more music." I got out in 2000, so at that time I was just trying to get back established into the world and try to, you know, get things back on track. So people kept asking me. So then I got with that, and I was like, "Man, what you want to do?" He was like, "Man, Mo, call the shop. What you want to do?" And he was just wrong. We called it Federale, and I actually used my ID from when I was incarcerated for the album cover. That's actually the federal ID that I had when I was locked up.
And I gotta say as well, like that album was absolutely phenomenal, man. And you know what? It's all and that right there is this living proof that you can actually turn a negative situation into a positive, man. Because you know, like you said, you did a bit, but then you actually used that picture to just gain some positivity out of that terrible situation.
Yeah, I did. You know, my mindset changed after that. You know, I mean, like when I started my label, man, I was in my early 20s. You know what I'm saying? When that came out, I was like in my mid-30s, so the mindset was also changing. As you know, as you grow, your mindset changed too. And my mindset was changing, so, you know, I just went a different way, but at the same time, I still wanted to get the people what they was asking me for.
And also as well, I have to ask, man, because like as we brought up during the interview, you know, Mobo Records turned into Mobo Camp. I have to ask, man, what kind of new stuff does Mobo Camp actually got going on right now? And of course, how can our listeners actually just like, you know, tap in with you if they want to submit their music for like a potential, like maybe a potential like signing if you are accepting talent, that is.
If you want to send any music, you can send it, you know, you can try to hit me on Instagram at Mobo Camp 90. I'm on YouTube, Mobo Camp Records, and I'm on the Facebook. I'll probably your best bet at Mobo Joe, you know. But I hadn't been really doing too many artists lately. I got some new music on deck. I'm just waiting for him to finish, you know, mixing it down. I got that, and I got a solo project on Rootin' Juvenile on Full Child. He never did a solo, so I'm waiting on getting that stuff. But I just finished a book, me and Ruthless Juvenile on their badness called Get Out of Jail Free Card. And basically the book is about these Jim Crow laws, and it's not all about, you know, people ratting and all that, because, you know, we passed all that stuff. It's education to teach people if you get incarcerated, is different things that you can follow to help yourself still sitting in that place and rot, you know. You got to learn your PCRs and stuff like that, know the laws that you're up against, understand some of these laws they use against you, and also a lot of things they don't tell you. So that book probably, we in September, I should have it out probably the end of September, maybe in November. It'll be coming out. And it's called Get Out of Jail Free Card. And it's a real, real good book, man. I'm real proud of it. It's a lot of knowledge. I think a lot of people will be able to get some good information out of it.
And of course, man, aside from the book, what else is next for yourself, Mobo Joe, as a solo artist, and of course, you know, Mobo Camp as a label, man? Like, is there anything we missed, anything else you still want to talk about or promote? Well, we still have you here live on the Canadian airwaves this evening.
Well, I'm really trying to get my documentary done. It's going to be Life in the Time of Mobo Joe, basically telling my whole life story, how I grew up, you know, how I got into the music, how I got into the drug game, how I went to prison, you know, my life after that, you know, the things I was able to go on. You know, I got a successful trucking business. I do real estate, you know. I do other investments and stuff like that. So that's basically my future. I want to work on doing things like that. And in the meanwhile, you know, teach a lot of the young folks, you know, things they don't know about business and how to do good, clean business. And, you know, be longevity. You know, like a lot of people, you know, they'll start off, they're making 5, 10 years, and then they're gone, you know. I mean, it's a blessing to be almost 30 years and still going strong like I'm going, you know. And that's my thing, to just try to pass a lot of this stuff on to the younger generation of, you know, just teach them good business ethics and how to do business, you know.
And also as well, Mobo, this is a time in the interview, man, that I give a chance for the individual that slides into the radio station airwaves. Just a chance to give, like, shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to. But most of all, man, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on everything Mobo Joe and Mobo Camp if they're not already doing so.
For y'all who not follow me, go follow me on Instagram at Mobo Camp 90. Make sure you spell Mobo Mobo. That's how you spell it. Mobo Camp CAMP 90. If you go to Facebook, it's Mobo Mobo Joe. And on YouTube, it's Mobo Camp Records. And you know, I got a lot of good projects up there, a lot of good music that y'all really, really enjoy, and I would love it. You go check it out and download it, put your compliments, tell me what you think about it, man, and just do your homework and just give me a look and see what you think, and let me know how you feel, man.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, Mobo, thank you so much for just giving us a little bit of your time this evening and coming on 97.7 FM. It definitely was an honor and most definitely a privilege, man, to welcome such a legendary hip-hop pioneer like yourself, man. You definitely defined a generation, not only for your community, but for millions of listeners worldwide, man. So thank you for dope music that you actually made yourself, and of course, dope music that you actually put out into the community that circulated all over the world for so many years.
And I want to thank you also, man, for already for having me as a special guest on your show. I love what you're doing, man. You know, you're reaching out, man. You had a lot of guests on there, man. A lot of people that you're bringing out, man. So that's a blessing right there, what you're doing, man. So like I say, the legendary Mobo Joe would like to also shout out to Outlaw Radio 97.7. Canada own Uncensored Radio. Man, look, man, I really, really thank you, man. You know, people like y'all keep me going, man. Y'all keep me going.
Hey, man, I'm going to be honest with you, Mobo. If you keep making it, we here in Canada, we're definitely going to keep spinning it. Thank you so much again, Mobo, and definitely have yourself a wonderful night out there in New Orleans.
All right, man, I will. When I get that new music, I'll make sure I shoot you some copies on it, all right?
Hey, most definitely. If you send it, I'll spin it.
All right, thank you, my man.
Thank you very much, Mobo. Have yourself a wonderful night.
All right, you too, my man. Bye.